All right, so let's take a look at these. The first, if we write our radical, our base of y, the power is 1, so we don't need to write anything there. The index is 7, and so we get our answer here. Now remember, when you're typing this in online, you type in 7th RT for 7th root, and then whatever's inside that radical will go inside parentheses. Okay, the second example, again, even though it's an improper fraction, okay, when we convert it, we're going to take our radical, a base of x, a power of 3, index of 2. We don't need to write anything because it's a square root. And so here you do have that simplified form where the conditions are not met. The power is greater than the index, so we do need to simplify. How many groups of 2 can we remove from 3? 1, so we can bring 1x out. And how many x's are left inside the radical if we remove one group of 2? 1. Do we need to have, and again, we have an even index, so we do need, or an even number in the denominator. So we need to consider whether or not absolute value is required here. So looking at this original form, and again, it's probably easier to look at the radical form of it, is it possible for x to be a negative? If you take a negative and cube it, you still get a negative. Can you take the square root of a negative? No, so x can't even be a negative, and that restriction is shown in the simplified form, so you don't even need to worry about absolute values. It can't even be a negative number. Right, the next example, we take our root, base of t, power of 3, index of 2. Now, because that power was a negative, it's going to go in the denominator. Right, and so here, for this one, because we haven't talked about simplifying radicals in the denominator, you could leave it in this form. You could also reduce it knowing what we know. We can remove one group of t, or one group of 2 t's out, becomes a t, and 1 t stays inside the radical. So either of these forms would be fine. We'll talk more later about how to rationalize this. And then the final form, and again, you would consider the possibility of an absolute value. It's the same form as b, so you know it's not going to need absolute values. Okay, the final example here, we take our radical, base b, power of 1. Now it's a negative 1, so it's going to go in the denominator of a fraction, but we can leave it unwritten, an index of 2. And so again, same thing, make sure you check to see, do you need absolute values around this? B can't even be a negative in this form, so you don't need to worry about absolute values.